Hello everybody, and welcome back. Today I will be using the MIT App Inventor to create an app that is commonly referred to as a snake app, because typically it has a ball on the screen and a snake. You direct the snake to get to the ball, and as soon as it gets to the ball, it increases your points, and the ball changes and appears somewhere else, and then you direct the snake to get back to the ball again. However, this time I'm going to be using a dinosaur for my snake, and you are welcome to follow along and use whatever you would like for your own. So I'm going to go to projects, I'm going to say start new projects, and I'm going to call this one Dino, just because. Alright, yeah, I already turned that off. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do in this video, we're just going to work on the layout. In the next video, I'll work on the code behind the layout. But in this one, we're going to start by adding a vertical arrangement to the screen. Now, every app that you play has a screen that comes up in the beginning, and then some of them wait a few seconds and disappear, and others will have a button for you to press, and then it'll disappear. I'm going to do all that today with you, but we're just going to have a button on our screen this time. We can add a timer to it next time. So right now, come over here into the left side of the screen and go all the way down to Layout. You're going to click the fourth one where it says Vertical Arrangement. Vertical arrangement simply means that there's going to be one on top of another on top of another. So when we put things in, that's how it'll be, one and then another and another. You'll see in just a second. Now we're going to, if you look over here at the components, I've explained this before, but these are the components that are on the screen, and this will become more important in this one than it has been in previous ones. When it's indented one, as the virtual arrangement is, that means that it's part of it, but it's a subpart. And this will become really important in just a little bit, and I'll show you why. But for now, let's just make sure that it's clicked, and let's set the height to fill parent and say OK. The parent is the screen because it's in the parent, so the parent, it's in the screen, so the parent is the screen. So when I told it to fill to the parent, it went all the way up to the top and all the way down to the bottom. When I tell it to fill width, which is across, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to fill the parent width, which is all the way across. Now, at this point in your game, you may decide you want to use a back color or maybe an image or something like that. So for now, I'm just going to pick something. I'm going to come over here to back color, and I'm just going to pick some weird color. Let's do this really bright blue color for now, or pick any other color that you'd like. The only thing at this point that would matter is the text on the labels that we're going to put up here is black. So if you use a black background, you're going to have difficulty seeing those. So you might want to change it to a color like this for now, or even just leave it white and then change it later if you're going to go with black or some other dark color. So let's go up to User Interface, and we're going to come down to the label. All a label does is displace text. We're going to grab one and drag it right onto the screen. This one automatically has text that says text for label 1. I am going to come over here to the text section and see that's where it says text for label 1. And I'm going to change that. I'm going to call it Brian's Dino Game. And to make it bigger and more readable, I'm going to change the font to, 25. I kind of like that, but I might go a little bigger. Let's go 30. That looks pretty good. We're also going to add a button. So let's grab a button right here, and we're going to just drag it right onto the screen underneath the other. Don't worry about how it's aligned right now. And we're going to change the text the same way we changed it in the label. We're going to change the text, and we're going to say something like Start Game. Now, a button, as you've already experienced, is set up so that when you click it, something happens. We'll have to tell it what happens in a few minutes. But for now, that's all it does. Let's change that button size, the text, to something like 25. That looks pretty good. Okay, both of these items are part of the vertical arrangement. So let's click on the vertical arrangement now, and let's tell it over here in the properties, let's tell it to align horizontally in the center. And that puts both of them equal distance from each edge. And then we're going to come down one and say align vertically, which is from top to bottom, in the center also. And that's going to put them right in the center of the screen. That's all we're going to do with this one for now. So this will be our start screen. When they click the start button, this screen will disappear and another screen will appear. For now, let's come over here in the properties and make this one invisible. Make sure you're clicked on the vertical arrangement and just unclick this check box, and so it's not visible. Since that's not visible, the items on it won't be visible either. So now we can make the next screen. So let's do another vertical arrangement. And let's also set this one to be the height fill parent and the width fill parent. Now if you notice over here under screen, we now have vertical arrangement 1 and vertical arrangement 2. Both of these items are on the screen, only vertical arrangement 1 is invisible and you cannot access it unless you make it visible. If you click on it, you could make it visible, but we're not going to do that right now. So here's what we're going to do. Let's go back over to the layout and let's do a horizontal arrangement. Now remember on the vertical arrangement a few minutes ago, we put a label and it was right here, and we put a button underneath it and it was right here. In the horizontal arrangement, it'll be things that are side by side instead of up and down, instead of top and bottom. So let's grab this horizontal arrangement and let's come down here at the bottom. See this blue line? Wherever the blue line is where it's going to be. So we'll come down here at the very bottom and we'll click it. Okay, actually, let's fix that because I messed it up. Come over here in the components and click on it, and let's just delete it for now because I did not mean to do that yet. That's something that we should have done in a few minutes. Instead, let's go to drawing and animation. We're going to add a ball to this screen, and we're going to add our little guy that runs around trying to get the ball. Those are called sprites, but a sprite can only exist on a canvas. That's very, very important. A sprite can only exist on a canvas. So let's add the canvas onto our vertical arrangement 2. And notice over here now it's actually part of vertical arrangement 2. And let's go in and tell it to also fill the height to parent and the width to parent. Now I said a while ago that means that it fills it to the size of the screen. That was mostly accurate, but not entirely. It fills it to the size of the screen minus anything else that's on the same level that's in the way. And that's what we're about to do now. Let's go back to layout. And now we're going to get the horizontal arrangement. And we're going to put it at the bottom of the canvas, below the canvas, but still in vertical arrangement 2. See how they're both the same level over here in the components? So vertical arrangement 2 comes all the way down, but the canvas now stops here because I've had something else put in. So fill parent means that it goes all the way as far as it can without overtaking other things, basically. Alright, let's go to the user interface, and we're going to add a button. So just grab this button, and we're just going to put it right into this horizontal arrangement. By default, whenever you put something into an arrangement like this, it automatically becomes the size of that item. but you can still make it bigger. You could go in and tell it to be bigger, but I'm not going to. Instead, we're going to grab another button, and we're just going to put it right on top of that first button. And see how it pushes it to the side, and now our arrangement is a little bigger? Let's do that 2 more times, because we need 4 buttons. Okay, now I have button 2, 3, 4, and 5 all here. It doesn't really matter that they're out of order. See how it says 2 and then 4 and then 3? But if you want, you could just move them over and it fixes it for it. So, the next thing we're going to do is to click on the first button, and this is going to be our up button for controlling the character. So when I type up over here on the text, so the text is what comes up on the button, it now says up. When I click on this next one and change it, I'm going to say down, and notice that the buttons change size to fit for now. Then I'm going to say left, and this last one I'm going to say right. These will be the controls for controlling our button in just a little bit. Now I'm going to click on my arrangement again, and I'm not going to worry about the height, but I'm going to tell the width to fill the parent. So that's just going to make it all the way across. And then I'm going to center horizontally, and that's going to put all the buttons right in the middle. And notice they're all evenly spaced apart, which is nice. So the next thing we're going to do, if we wanted, we could change our canvas color or something like that. I'm going to leave it this color for now. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come over to Drawing and Animation. And we're going to click on it. We're going to grab this ball and we're going to drag it onto the screen. If you've already done the ball tutorial, this is very similar. We're just going to change the size. Now that we have the ball, we're going to come over here and we're going to tell it radius, and we're going to make the radius whatever we want. In this one, I think I want it to be 15. I think that's a good size for my ball. So remember a while ago I told you that a sprite, which includes the ball, cannot exist except on the canvas. So this is our canvas. See, it's even got the little canvas symbol, which will disappear when we run the app. But that's it for now. We're going to grab a second one. Let's grab this image sprite and let's drag it onto the screen. And let's come over here for the height. And for now, we're going to tell it to be 100 pixels. That's a decent size. And we're going to do the same for width. Now, eventually, we're going to put a picture on it. And when we do, the picture may be smaller. And so we'll have to readjust that down some. Or it may be bigger and we'll have to fix the whole thing so that it still stays the right size for our game. But for now, that's alright. So let's go back over to Layout. And we are going to add another horizontal arrangement. We're going to put it right below this one. So move it to the blue line, goes right below it. And put it there. This one, we're going to have 2 labels. So let's go to User Interface. And remember, labels just describe things or just display text. We're just going to grab a label and we're going to stick it right in here. Then we're going to grab a second label and we're going to stick it in here also. We're going to click on this first one. We're going to come over here into the properties and we're going to tell it that the text on it is just going to say the word score. And maybe a colon at the end. And then for label 3, we're going to click on it, and we're just going to change that to a 0. So what's going to happen is our ball's going to appear, and we're going to control it around, and when we finally get to it, our code's going to tell it to add 1 to the score, and then the ball will reappear somewhere else on the screen. That's what we're going for. So let's go ahead, if you want, you can add your picture into your sprite. You can add any picture you want. I'm going to upload, and I'm going to choose my little dinosaur. And I'm going to tell it OK. And there he is. That's my little guy. Now, if I decide that's too big, maybe I want to make him a little bit smaller. Maybe I want to make it 75. And by 75 width and 75 for the height. So notice how the whole thing is a little smaller now. Maybe I want to go even smaller. I mean, you can do whatever you want with this. It's your game, so you make it however you feel comfortable. So now I'm going to be moving my little dinosaur around the screen and up and stuff and try to direct him to the ball. And then when the ball moves somewhere else, I'm going to move him down to that one. Okay, so here's where we're at. If you look over here in the vertical arrangement, we have the canvas, which has the ball in the image. It's all in vertical arrangement too. We have another horizontal arrangement that has all the buttons. I'm going to close that for now. And you can open it again just by pressing the plus. We have a horizontal arrangement that has the labels. I'm going to close that. And I'm going to close the one with the canvas. All three of these major sections are part of vertical arrangement 2, which I'm going to also close now. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to come over here to the visible, and I'm going to uncheck it. So everything in vertical arrangement 2 has now disappeared. We're going to do this because we're going to put an end screen also. So when our game's finished, we'll have a screen that comes up that says that it's finished. So let's go to the layout. Let's add one more vertical arrangement. And let's tell it to fit the height to fill parent and the width to fill parent. Now, let's go to the user interface and let's just add a label right in there. And we're going to change the text on it to say something like game over. And maybe I'll add a few exclamation marks. And I want to change the size of that to, let's say, 30. And then we're going to add one more button. We're just going to grab it and drag it right underneath that. And I'm going to change the text on this button to say start over. That'll be my start over button, or my restart button. And I'm going to change it to be, let's say, 25. We're almost done. Now all we got to do is point to the vertical arrangement canvas, or you could point to it over here, either way. And we're going to tell it to align to the center and align that to the center so that it's right in the middle. And if we want, we can change the background color to anything we like. I'm going to give it a nice red color because it's the end screen. And that's it. In the next section, I will show you how to add the code to do all the stuff that we want to do. So I hope you're enjoying this, and I will see you in the next section.